Welcome back to another high-level match of StarCraft 2. What I've got for you today is a best-of-3 series of Terran versus Zerg, where in game number 1 we find ourselves on Royal Blood. I totally knew that. Spotted right here in the top right corner. Playing with the red Zerg drones from South Korea. We're looking inside of the main base of Dark. His opponent in the opposite corner with the blue Terran SCVs. He's from France and he goes by the name of Clem. Alrighty, so this particular series is from a recent ESL Open Cup for the North American region. For some reason, these two guys, they keep on signing up for the NA tournaments. I mean, the games take place on the NA server, which is fair enough, but for most people, the main problem would be the time zone, right? I mean, obviously, these tournaments, they take place at an NA-friendly time. Although, to be fair, most of the pro gamers, and I know especially Clem is quite notorious for that, they don't necessarily live, you know, they don't wake up at 7 in the morning and go to bed at like 10 p.m., okay? They don't live the regular schedule like a lot of us normies do. I'm personally very much so the type of guy who will wake up at the same time every day and I'll go to bed, you know, at the same time pretty much every time as well. Anyways, many of the pro gamers, from what I've learned over the years, they live a schedule where they go to bed when they're tired and then they wake up when they wake up. Maybe I'm just too old for that or something. I'm not exactly sure, but I've never been able to properly do that. Definitely not gonna start it now, but that is how a lot of these guys live their lives. And I guess, you know, if you're a professional gamer and this is what you do for a living, it does make sense to, somehow, some way, create a schedule around these online tournaments as well, if you plan on playing in them. But yeah, for both of these guys, it's gonna be a little bit of a crazy time to play these type of games. That being said, though, I don't really know exactly how Dark lives his life, but I know that, for example, Clem, if you're trying to, like, schedule a show match with him, you really shouldn't schedule it any earlier than, like, 4, maybe 5 p.m. in France, because he doesn't really wake up until, you know, the middle of the afternoon. Anyhow, it's gonna be a Reaper right here into a Marine for Clem. He's gonna be opening up with a very standard start, and the same can be said right here for Dark. Is he gonna pull out of gas? He is not gonna pull out of gas, so because of that, his third base is going to be a little bit delayed, but of course, he can at the very least get that metabolic boost upgrade going. So we mined 100 gas, we're going to pull 2 drones out, I'm going to start up the metabolic boost research, and eventually we should be able to create a hatch. Now, he didn't actually hide a drone anywhere, so it might be a little bit tricky to actually take it. Of course, Clem is very well known for his Reaper harassment, and that's also why Dark decided to go for 6 Zerglings, rather than the conventional 4. For the time being, though, nice little bit of dancing. He wants to get the tumor really bad. Okay. Dark's not even going to take the chance. He decides to go for the double inject right now into 2 more queens. So this is 4 queens right from the get-go. And if you're going to go for 4 queens, you're going to have to delay your 3rd hatchery. Yeah, with the Reaper around, it can be a little bit tricky. Now, okay, Clem is looking around as well at both of the 3rd base options. And that now allowed one of the drones to sneak out and still turn into a 3rd hatch. Alright, small deviations right here from Dark. Nothing really all too significant, though. We're seeing a straight-up 1-1-1 right here from Clem. So no 3rd command center. Most of the time, Clem is fond of going for a 3rd command center before that starport goes down. But apparently in this particular instance, he decides to go straight 1-1-1. This will allow him more units earlier on, especially if you go Cloak, for example. Sometimes the Zergs get a little bit carried away. He just made 2 Hellions, and now he's already going for the switch back. That is pretty interesting. Yeah, a lot of Zergs have gotten pretty greedy with, like, their Spore Crawler timings and all the rest of it, so sometimes, like, a Cloak Banshee can actually catch you off guard, because this is, at least as far as the meta goes, there we go. This is a relatively old-school way to play. I mean, we see it all the time, but the 3rd Command Center variant of this particular opener is a little bit more popular currently. Anyways, very quick lair right here as well, by the way, from Dark. So, Queen already sleeping on the job. Maybe Dark is half asleep in this particular game. She really needs to be injecting that hatch. Apparently, she's been tasked with guarding against a Reaper, and she's taking her job very seriously. But losing out on one of those Queen injects is actually a little bit sloppy. There we go. Like, he finally does it again, but that is a full inject miss. So now he's gonna, I guess, put down the creep tumor of shame to try and connect the natural to the main base. Alright, so is Clem gonna be able to punish him for that? Honestly, hard to say. Clem, of course, a very clean Terran. He doesn't really play a very messy style. Usually, it's very micro-focused, so any sort of ping can be quite annoying. But it's going to be that bio-based follow-up, and despite the fact that we do have a pretty quick lair right here for Dark, he's pretty late, actually, on the Baneling Nest. We don't have any Evo Chamber upgrades done yet either. He's hitting a bit of a supply block. This is the Dark we all know and love, man. He sometimes seems to play the game a little bit sloppy. I've mentioned this in previous casts, so I don't really want to go over it again, but I mean, I would be happy to go over it, but I don't really want to keep repeating myself because I know you guys watch every single one of my videos, right? So I really don't need to. Anyways, Dark sometimes likes to play this game in a bit of a messy fashion. For really no apparent reason. Dark really does power up though in the later stages of the game, and his early game can look a little bit sloppy sometimes. He's gonna be able to drone up eventually, but I wonder how that's gonna work against somebody as clean as Clem. Clean as Clem, dude. It's the title of his autobiography one day. He really does play a very clean style of Terran though. Not really, yeah, going for anything crazy, just playing solid, straightforward macro games with some stellar micro on the back of it as well. Okay, so third command center is going to finish up eventually. So far though, he hasn't really done any damage. All the damage done in this game so far was done by Dark himself, which is really quite impressive. Really quite okay. Now I'm sounding a little bit mean right now. Dark is one of my absolute favorite players to watch. You'll be hard-pressed to find a bigger Dark fan than me, but my god, do I sometimes wish he would tighten up his early game a little bit. I don't want to, I don't want to question geniuses, like maybe it's not my place, but it really does sometimes feel like it's just unnecessarily sloppy. Sometimes we see like 3 macro hatcheries in the main base at this point, you're like, okay, Dark, this seems unnecessary. But I guess in Dark's mind, right, as long as he stays alive, everything's okay. Like, as long as he doesn't lose a dozen workers, everything's alright. The little bits, yeah, here and there, I mean, it slows him down a bit, but it doesn't really matter. Like, it would matter if you're gonna go for a timing attack, right? So most Zerg players, they play timing attack-based styles, or at the very least, that's one of their focuses. Dark very rarely lines up his attacks with 1-1 upgrades, or 2-2 upgrades, or bingling speed, or something like that. He just plays what he feels like is good in the current moment, and when you're not playing for a timing attack, usually your execution doesn't have to be as clean, because you're not really trying to min-max the exact amount of units. So we did have a very quick infestation pit. A bunch of units over here got caught as well. I do believe that this is going to be alright though for Clem, yeah, especially with reinforcements now coming out of the natural. Very quick hive. 7-minute hive right here from Dark. Okay. So the only thing this can reasonably be, I would imagine, is an Ultralisk rush. So Ultras are pretty sick, especially before Terran gets their, well, Ghosts out and their Liberator transition and all the rest of it, but I would be very surprised if Clem is going to be caught off guard against Ultras. I mean, this is a hive before 2-2. Good luck with this bailing roll-by. That was an attempt. Many units, though, were ready to shoot down those Banes before they got even remotely close. Now, we're up to 8 gateways here. 8 gateway production here for Clem, so he is ready to start piling on the pressure. 4th command center does come up here eventually, but this is definitely a man who's ready to go for some, yeah, some Terran move-outs here very, very soon. We do have a bit of a link drop now attempted as well, all the way behind the back of the main base. These units will probably be dropped off over here to create as much chaos as possible, and probably to buy time. So here's the hive finishing up. I really wonder if this is gonna be a straight Ultra Cavern. It's honestly the only thing that makes sense in my mind, but I don't know. Again, this is Dark, so he can kind of just do whatever he pleases. Yeah, at this point, he's really prioritizing unit production, though, because he realizes this is one hell of an army. The Zerglings are in right now, but reinforcing Marines should be available. Now, there is Burrow as well, which is also kind of nice, but this siege tank positioning here is absolutely killer by Clem. Look at the supply count. Really, this is a game where nothing much has happened yet, and Clem is just playing tidier, he is just playing cleaner. He is not really falling for any of the tricks that Dark is trying to play on him. And this is oftentimes what I've wondered about, man. Like, Dark often can play these messy games, and the Korean Terrans are like, oh, I don't really know exactly what he's doing. I'm gonna adjust my playstyle too. I'm gonna like almost play into his hands. Clem doesn't do any of that. Yeah, Clem is not doing any of that. Does he not just simply have way too much stuff here for the Zerg player to deal with? There's the Ultralisk Cavern, by the way. So yeah, this is a very quick Ultra Cavern in the grand scheme of things. Ultras would be fantastic, but look at the supply counts right now. Clem is simply outplaying Dark here in game number 1, and it's honestly not even close. Now, of course, this is based off of a 3-base all-in. 4th command center is done at this point. Has he done enough damage yet? Not quite. But the supply count is not deceiving us here. There's just so much Terran available. Now, a lot of the Terran units, though, are at home. Yeah, look at the amount of Marines just standing over here close to the depot. And this may actually be an opportunity right here for Dark to strike back. Maybe his army is not that big, but it's big enough to deal with the partial army right here from Clem. Siege tank on the high ground getting so much damage in 27 kills in total. And he's gonna be kept alive as well. Here's the reinforcements right now, heading on over. Clem is not even really going for the killer move. He's just going for the suffocation. No breathing. Don't give up. Okay, no, I can't say that. Because I guess my YouTube video would get demonetized, and I don't really want that. Anyways, but yeah, he's just going for the suffocation move, right? So he's just trying to make sure that the opponent doesn't get a 4th base up. He's already denied 1 4th base over there. Now he's gonna deny another 4th base, which some would consider the 5th. Right here at the 3 o'clock position too. In a game where relatively little has happened. My god. Yeah, no, Clem is just completely outplaying Dark. Now the Ultras are out. They do not have chitinous plating. Still though, not an easy unit to clean up right here for Clem, who doesn't really have the unit composition to deal with this, but without chitinous plating, the Ultras take so much damage. Queens have some energy too though. Okay, Dark's actually stabilizing. This is such a Dark game. This is horrible for him though, don't get me wrong, but the Ultras here, yeah, they are packing a punch. There's the chitinous plating upgrade coming. Straight Marauder Liberator production here for Clem right now. There's a little bit of a counter-attack here too. I can't imagine Clem is cracking a little smile as well though when he sees this, because it's just one of those moves that really doesn't win you games unless the Terran significantly messes up. Okay. So maybe Clem was planning on winning the game already at this point, but the problem is, right, the main base, yeah, it's running low. The natural expansion, already 4 mineral fields are gone. The 3rd is not even going to be that far behind either. We've got a lot of drones long distance mining over here. There is a new base taken here in the center of the map. I don't know exactly what caused Dark to just GG out. Maybe it's when he realized that his hatchery was misplaced? Or maybe there was a fight happening in the meantime too. Did he see something that changed his mind about this game? I'm actually just gonna switch to his vision right now, so this is what Dark was seeing. No, okay, Dark literally just GG'd out. He realized there's no way I'm gonna win this. Oh no, here we go again. Gresvin, game number 2 in this best of 3. I hope you got yourself a drink. I actually have run out of water already. Maybe I should pause my video, but that's okay. I think I'm alright. Unless I really need it. These games, man, they tend to go to distance. I've seen a lot of very long games on Gresvin lately. With the Terran players, I mean, just not taking that aggressive approach, right? So, in the previous game, Clem had 8 barracks on 3 command center, right? Let's see how many barracks he's gonna have in this game when he decides to make a 4th. I feel like that's the strategy that every single Terran player plays on this map. They will make a quick 4th base to try and get that planetary going ASAP. Anyhow, I've gone over the map specifics many times before. But essentially what it comes down to is that Terrans are a very big fan of playing the long game here. They really don't mind it. That being said though, Dark is a big fan of playing late game any day of the week. So we'll have to see what he decides to go for here. He really does need to clean things up. He can't be hitting supply blocks. He can't be missing queen injects. He can't be making mistakes like that. This is not a, a Master League game. This is a top-of-the-line Grandmaster League game. So it's obviously important here for him to not make any silly mistakes. Alright, so let's see. Clem not opting, by the way, for the depot into double barracks here at the front. We saw the same thing happening from Oliveira recently, where Oliveira was going for, well, the same opener right here from Clem. And I found that noteworthy because every single Terran player here has been, well, other than, maybe the ones that are going command center first. I've been seeing that quite a bit too. But basically every Terran player at the top of the game, they have been going for, double barracks at the front into triple Reaper. Haven't really seen Clem go for that strategy nearly as much. I'm trying to recall right now. Maybe he has been playing it quite a bit as well, and I just can't remember at this point, but this is a prime example of a map where you can go for that build. Maybe it's just a little bit too predictable, at least that seems to be my main concern. Not everybody agrees. Okay, this time around, Dark decides to pull the drones out of gas a little bit early. This will allow him to make a 3rd hatchery here before that Reaper can ever arrive. I like this move a lot. I think it's very strong. Of course, this comes at the cost of a delayed link speed, so your Zergling speed is not going to be quite as quick, but he's still going to be able to make it here at a reasonable time. And he should be able to finish it by the time that 4 Hellions can roam the map. Once again, 6 Zerglings right here for Dark. Ends up losing 1. And if it's up to Clem, he'll get another. Here's the Queen, though. Can she lay down a tumor this time around? He's gonna try. Okay. Playing with fire there. Very easy to lose it. Are we gonna go triple command center this time around, Clem? Or are we gonna go... No, we are gonna go straight into a starport once again. It's so funny to me how it's like... like these strategies, they're you'd imagine that it's like a line, right? Where we have old strategies from like 5 years ago, and then we have current strategies, and along the way, there's a lot of strategies that have come and gone. But it turns out Terran openers against Zerg are more like a circle, where like old builds once again become popular. I'm making a call right now, okay? By the end of the year, we're gonna be seeing Liberator openers again, where it's gonna be this exact same thing, except we're not gonna be seeing the tech lab on the starport. It's instead gonna be a quick Liberator. I might be completely wrong, but I feel like, you know, what is the word? Cyclical? Is that the word? Is that... That sounds like the correct English word in my mind. At least it would be very similar to the Dutch word. Cyclical, having events happen in a particular order, one following the other, and often repeated. Okay, yeah, that is exactly the word I'm looking for. It sounds very similar to the Dutch word, so I figured it'd be correct. Anyways, that's exactly what we're seeing in these Terran builds, man. We'll probably be going back to like 2-1-1 with 16 Marine drops very soon, together with like 1-1-1 and then Hellion into Liberator. Those build orders we haven't seen as much as of late. Wouldn't be surprised if we're gonna be getting there again at some point in the future. Anyways, here's Hellion number 3 and 4 showing up right now. A link speed is indeed finishing up at an appropriate time, as a big, well, Hellion run by right now could be happening right around this time. He's actually a bit late here. Ooh, okay, he is a bit late on the link speed. Does he even have any Zerglings? No, he's got 9 of them. Or as they say in Germany, 9 Zerglings. I don't think that's what they say in Germany. 1, 2, Polizei, 3, 4, Brigadier. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9? 9 Zerglings. There you go. Good thing I had German in school for like 4 years. To not remember any of it. Fantastic. Ein Döner bitte. Danke. That's all you really need to know. Ich möchte gerne eine Bier. That also works. You can go a very, very long way in Germany with those 2 sentences only. Just add genau in every once in a while, and you sound like you are a native German. Genau. Anyways, we've got ourselves a 3rd command center here on the back of it eventually. Double Engie Bay as well. A little bit of harassment here at the front, but this is the dance that we see all the time, right? Clem is wearing his dancing shoes. Dark is wearing his dancing shoes. I'm wearing my tutu to... I always do when I cast these games. Gotta feel fabulous to be able to cast these matches of StarCraft, even though I'm not the one doing any dancing here. Anyways, no, it's just a bio transition here in the end, right, for Clem. Can he get in? I mean, that's a lot of queens. Yeah, suddenly there's 9 queens coming in from every angle. I wouldn't mind seeing a little bit of detection here somewhere, but I guess there's enough transfusions available for these queens to just keep each other alive for the most part. Lara's gonna finish up though, and that is a lot of wasted energy. Hey, he's gonna get one. There you go. And he loses one of the Banshees in the process. Fantastic. Hellions trying to move on the right side of the map. Are they gonna be able to drive in? They could try, but good movement there by Dark. Because of that creep spread, he saw these Hellions coming in from quite a distance, so he knows what he needs to do. Okay. Infestation Pit really quickly once again. Notice how he's prioritizing the Infestation Pit over the +1 Carapace upgrade. Well, like, why? I don't even think that's ideal. We should... There you go. We should really start it up. Positioning his structures in such a way as well that a Hellion run-by would be a little bit more difficult, but obviously these structures are a lot more exposed now against, for example, a Marine drop. Are we once again gonna rush straight up towards a hive here, Dark? Is that the plan? I sure hope not, maybe. I mean, it'd be kind of cool to see, don't get me wrong, but The Ultras, to be honest, did quite well in the previous game. I think it was mostly the problem, you know, before the Ultras that really caused him to be in such a tricky position. So 5 barracks here at this point in time. Second factory has been fired up as well over at the front. And we'll probably see him adding on a 4th command center here before too long. That's at least what I would imagine. Marine drop heading on over towards the main base. Hellions driving down south. But yeah, they're going to be unloaded over here. Dark manages to push that back. Hellions are going to be used right here as the janitor crew over here, right? It's important to get rid of that creep. Clean up as many of those tumors as possible, although the queens are already on their way once again to lay down some more tumors. Boop, 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 boop. There you go. The janitor crew takes their lives very seriously, okay? Risking their own lives to make sure that they can get it. So there's the hive once again. So we're gonna get, once more, about an 8.5 minute or so hive. We could see a very quick Ultra Cavern once again. Normally, the quickest timing for a hive would be basically around the time that you start up 2-2. So basically, as you start up 2-2, you go Infestation Pit, then you go to a hive. That's the conventional timing for a quote-unquote fast hive in this matchup. This is Dark going for one that is significantly quicker. So he's gonna be able to go 2-2 here. He didn't mix in any infestors. There's the hive finishing up. Adrenal glands? 40% attack speed on the Zerglings. Hydra then? Really? Okay. So maybe he wanted to go Ultras here originally, but he's looking at this game right now. He's like, you know what? Probably not a great choice. Here's Clem, by the way, coming across the map. Still on 5 barracks, 4th command center, indeed flying on over towards that middle location. This is a classic game of Terran versus Zerg here. So he's really just rushed up towards a hive for that Adrenal Glands upgrade. He does see an opportunity over here, though. Yeah, those siege tanks were not in the right position yet. Group of Banelings does get cleaned up pretty easily, and Clem did not expect his opponent to jump him. A very dark-ass move, right? Most players would be taking that a little bit slower. They would be waiting for the opportunity there, and maybe their upgrades to finish up. But Clem, I mean, he is playing against an absolute maniac of a Zerg. He takes one shot at your army. He will take one look, and he sees an opportunity, he'll jump it immediately. Even though he's basically doing a strategy here where all of the upgrades that he's got coming right now are going to be a massive improvement. But those upgrades were also a long while away, so kind of difficult for the Zerg to actually make that call. Now suddenly, there's Zerglings burrowed everywhere. I love how much burrow we've been seeing lately. One of the most underused upgrades in general in StarCraft 2, and, well, we're seeing it so much more frequently as of late. It's very strong. Super annoying, because I can just unburrow, there you go, and continue harassing for a little bit longer. This is right as Clem was finally ready to go for another attack once again. It's buying a lot of time, and now, well, for the next attack, Adrenal Glands will be done. So those Zerglings are suddenly gonna get a massive power spike. +2/+2 also a little bit late here for Clem, all things considered. I think those Banelings may have also snatched a couple SCV kills here. Anyways, here's the fight over at the front. The front, though, at this point is the middle of the map, as Dark has been spreading that creep very diligently. Okay. I think for Clem at this point, it's all about making sure that he can tech up towards those late game units. Don't give away any army here for free. Okay. Widow Mines are not gonna be taken like that. There's a burrowed Baneling in the mix as well. A couple more hiding right behind there. There's actually 2 of them. Anyways, so there's Banelings now burrowed all over the map. He needs to scan ahead of where he's moving, but is he gonna scan off creep? Unlikely. Okay. Marauders here trying to get a good choke on this base, but that's not really going to happen. Some pretty decent Widow Mine splits here, all things considered. Yeah. And that fight, while it looked pretty decent there initially for Dark, was really not great at all for the South Korean Zerg. Clem suddenly strikes back. Yeah. You give him an inch, he'll take a mile. Or as we say in the beautiful country of Europe, you give him a centimeter, he'll take a kilometer. Something like that. Anyways, Marines are gonna have to evacuate on out of there eventually. The main thing right now, though, for Clem is that he does have a massive army compared to his opponent. We're talking 103, 105-ish supply compared to 69 of the Zerg. Nice. For the Terran, that is. Who's going into, like, this Hydroling Bane transition really kind of is a strange one to me. So he's not going for the +3 armor upgrade. Instead, he's going +1, +3. One for the missile upgrades for the Hydras. But he could have gone for a Hydra then way earlier than he actually did in this game. Maybe he was saving the gas for it? I don't think I like the tech route here from Dark all too much, if I'm being honest with you, but... Yeah, he's a flexible man. He does at least, you know, 10 minutes of yoga every day before he starts up his StarCraft 2 games. And it's paying off. There's flexibility in his play. Not very rigid at all. But anyways, those Widow Mines. Okay, that one just fired at the Marines. Luckily, the Marines have a bunch of medevacs up in the air, so they don't really have to be all too concerned here. Clem looking for the kill here. Yeah, he's happy to play the long game. But after those donations of Lings and Banes, he's feeling pretty good about himself. Okay, +2/+2 at this point done, of course, for the Terran as well, so he's getting a lot of damage in. No siege tanks, though, to fall back to anymore, right? So it's difficult to get these Widow Mines and Liberators in the actual battle. Those Overseers also. Ooh, forcing a ton of friendly fire. Nicely done right there by Dark. Purposefully trying to bait those Widow Mine shots with the Overseers. Okay, good split over there into, into that Terran Bio Bowl. And at this point, this fight has been going on for such a long time that these medevacs are without energy. I think they're the only parts of the original crew. The rest of this Terran army has died ages ago. And Dark is really good at sustaining these battles, right? Like, the reason why he's good at it is because of these 2 macro hatcheries in the main base. A lot of Zergs will be pulling the queens to the front, and they're going to be missing queen injects here and there. Those macro hatches in the main base give him continuous larva production to just, well, keep all of this alive continuously. Okay, so now that the dust has settled, Dark is still sitting at 85 workers here versus 69 of Clem. Nice. It's the second time. Planetary Fortress, though, is coming up on the right side, and this is usually when we have the Explosion du Command Center right over here, as Clem calls it. Explosion du Commandement. What was it? It sounded like that. Anyways, he'll probably be going for command centers here very soon. This is what Terran players love to do on this map. They're big fans of it. They're like, ooh, command center. Ooh, command center. Ooh, command center. Until they do that about 17 times, and then they have orbital commands for days. Yeah, fantastic. All right, here's the +3/+3. Here's the first of the, what will probably be many extra orbitals. Although he needs to be careful that he does not get too carried away, though, because he needs to have a bit of a bank as well to replenish his army. Normally, though, this is going to be the moment where Zerg is going to leave Terran alone for a little bit. Yep, so there's the Lurker Den eventually coming up. Despite the very quick hive, the Lurker Den's actually very late. Which is kind of ironic. Normally we're rushing Lurkers in this matchup. Not the case, though, this time around. Okay, here comes Clem once again. Here comes Clem once again. This is a musical performance today. I dreamed a dream that I was Clem. And I could micro. Alright, anyways. Widow Mine's getting so much value in. My god, Dark, you're going so deep. Oh my god. He doesn't know where those Widow Mines are going. He's an absolute madman, dude. He's that crazy guy in the movies that has like a knife between his teeth for absolutely no apparent reason. He's like, I'm gonna just run through the minefield. I don't care where your mines are. They'll probably deal as much damage to you as they deal to me. Well, there's certainly a little bit of randomness there. Although theoretically Clem can retarget with those units. He was just busy running away. So he's just crossing his fingers too and hoping that those Widow Mines do not explode his army. Not usually what Terran players have to deal with at this point, man. But okay. Yeah, so the reason why we don't really have a heavy transition towards Ghosts is because Zerg is not transitioning towards anything else either. Now we have 10 Lurkers coming up, and I think as soon as Clem sniffs those out, he'll be adding on a lot more Ghosts, yeah. There's already a couple coming here. It's never really a bad army, right? Like, if you have like a dozen or so Ghosts out, I don't think there's a lot of Terran players that will be complaining about that. The Ghosts, they do make the late game so much nicer. Even as just like a damage dealer, they actually do pack a punch. Dropping the main base being a nuisance. Liberator here at the bottom, getting a bunch of kills in, but the Spore Crawler is helping out in that department as well. And he's just gonna continue just harassing the Zerg. Okay, so This game has been a back and forth so far, but now we're in the late game. I mean, neither player really has committed yet to like a proper late game army. Not really a lot of spell casting just yet, but we're getting to that point that we are also very familiar with. Late game TVZ on this map usually tends to go quite well for the Terran, and maybe that is why Dark is playing so aggressively. Ooh, that's a big Widowmine hit over there too. Yeah, that's that bad boy over there. 18 committed kills right now. Maybe that's why he's playing so aggressively though. He's just trying to make sure that this game does not go the distance. In the meantime, the drop that was previously heading up to the main base has now killed the base over here at the, well, triangle location. This is a good spot though for the Zerg to sit in. Although, yeah, those snipes are nice. Really lovely work. Getting a couple of those lurkers. Dark's actually going to be forced to retreat here. Oh, he doesn't have seismic spines? Oh, I didn't even check for that. He got the adaptive talons upgrade before the ranged upgrade for those lurkers? I mean, he's a world-class player, but I am inclined to call that a mistake. Beautiful play here as well, of course, by Clem, though. Ay. He must have realized that those units do not have their ranged upgrade yet. And without the ranged upgrade, those lurkers are just not nearly as scary. They really need those ranged upgrades. Like, mid-game lurkers are not scary at all. This is a very different Dark than what we saw a few weeks ago, though, right? Where he was playing, like, literally north of, like, 30 infestors at any given time. Like, he would have so many infestors available. This is an entirely different Dark that we're seeing right now than, I think, against Cure is what that series that I'm referencing was all about. Like, on Neo Humanity, he had so many of those infestors out. Anyways. Yeah, he's got none at this point, so he's not focusing on any spellcasting. He's just almost desperately throwing Lings and Banes and Hydras and Lurkers at the opponent. I really wonder if it's due to the map. It could just be that Dark is like, this is what I want to do today, which is completely fair. But yeah, maybe it's because the majority of the late games on this map, they seem to go in the Terran's favor currently. That's of course what Clem is playing for here as well. Okay, so real quick, in order for Zerg to win the late game against Terran, if it's a split map scenario, is to mine out one of the Terran's bases. So this expansion over here, and then the ones that we're seeing right here still available, still wide open on the map, yeah. This is considered to be one of the Terran's bases. If you were to draw a line on the minimap, this one would be on the side of the Terran. If Clem can force this game to go for long enough where he mines out either, well, the one that I just had on the screen or this one up here, together with the one that he's taking right now, he is going to be able to obtain the victory almost every time because he's just trading way more efficiently. Look at the resources lost at this point. It's honestly not that bad. I actually thought it would be worse at this point for the Zerg, but anyways, that seems to be the general goal. And on this map, it's really quite difficult for Zerg to get one of those bases from the Terran. If you compare it to, like, you know, an Ancient Cistern or any of these other maps that we have in the current map pool, especially Neo Humanity and Gresvin are very good for these late game split map scenarios. Now, that was a cute little Baneling detonation there with the Banelings hidden underground. Yeah, Dark just playing mass Hydraling Bane. He's got 5 Lurkers remaining, he's got 5 Hydros, but really it's just Ling Bane. Yeah, 122 Zorklings, 53 of those Banelings as well. There's the Lurker Den coming up. That is a strategy we see work all the time. Lurkers in the main base, suddenly there's a bunch of them on the ramp, very difficult to deal with. But this is good. As long as Clem can deny these bases here, he's gonna be in an excellent spot. He'd be happy to play this game out as it is right now, with neither player getting any additional money. Now this is a very large Terran, very large Zerg ball. Love that planetary over here, by the way. That is really powerful, especially against his Ling Bane heavy base. Oh my god, army. I mean, that was an absolute bloodbath, don't get me wrong, but I think that's a bloodbath in favor of the Terran. For now, Terran can, you know, remax this pretty easily, right? Like, he doesn't have as much money in the bank, but that's mostly due to the fact that he's building a gajillion command centers. Yeah, we're going up to... We have 5 orbitals right now, more command centers are finishing up, 4 planetaries. I think he'll be okay. This is not a Lurker drop, by the way, in the main base. There's 1 Lurker in there, but that's not really too worrisome. There's some snipes going down. And this should not really get that much work done, although this does open up the front door. Okay, this is where the real damage is dealt. Nice move right there by Dark. This does open up the front door for him to go for some aggression up north. In the meantime, though, Clem has got a lot of his army committed down south. He knows there's banelings here in the mix. He scouts right now, he scans, and he sees that there's no lurkers in this position just yet. A lot of reinforcing Zerglings are showing up. Okay, sneaking the lurkers around the side, trying to deal as much damage as possible. I wonder if Clem got a little carried away with the amount of command centers that he's made, man. Terrans really have gotten a bit too comfortable, just making command center after command center after command center. It really does feel a bit dangerous. That's the only reason why Clem is, yeah, not in a position right now where he's just got a gajillion resources, right? Obviously, though, those scans are going to be very helpful, and at this point he can replace most of his SCVs with mules as well. So his army supply count is actually very healthy, but he is actually remaking some SCVs. Yeah, he agrees. He doesn't actually have quite enough at this point yet. So now I feel like the command center count is maybe a bit too high. Anyways. No transition towards that ghost mech army that we used to see a lot a few months back. Instead, we're going to be going for liberators with ranged. Okay. So no ghost mech. Just a bio-based army, Marine Marauder Medevac, with mines, ghosts, and liberators for support. Interesting. Maybe it's because that ghost mech army is just too immobile and it's too difficult to actually control everything. Alright. Dark still, though, sitting at a massive link count. He doesn't have any gas anymore, right? Like, that's one of his main problems. He's made how many banelings? 96 banelings here, but I don't think that's all of them. I think that's only the banelings that got killed. The ones that exploded probably aren't included in that list, although I don't really know exactly how that works. Either way, he needs to saturate gases really desperately. He's once again trying to sneak out a base over here. He's trying to take the same base up north. So if Dark can mine any of those, or preferably both, but if he can mine them out and deny his opponent one of them, that would be amazing right here for the South Korean Zerg. There's the pathogen glands upgrade coming up. He doesn't have the gas for it, though. These two gases actually really need to be saturated. He's busy microing up north, pushing into a planetary fortress, widow mines, siege tanks, liberators, and all the rest of it. The ghosts were chilling on the other side of the map. Okay, that's another command center down the drain, but I think there will be many, yep, to replace it. Lurkers in the main base would be really quite nice. It's gonna be Zerglings here instead. Same deal though, still very annoying for the Terran player to have to deal with, but as long as he's denying these expansions here, I do think he's gonna pull out ahead here eventually. Okay. That's another command center getting denied. Looks like the Nidus Worm did not quite get a lot of lings out. It probably got no Zerglings out as the Marines of the Marauders sniped it as the scream happened. One hero swarm host coming up. Accidental misclick right there by Dark, who's of course playing a very fast game here, but yeah, Clem, 470 actions per minute as well. For Terran, there's not nearly as much spam as there is for Zerg, so despite the APM being a little bit higher here for Dark, Clem definitely is playing a faster game. And you can tell. He seems to be a little bit cleaner. He seems to just be a little bit better overall here. I mean, it's close. But these bases are so hard for the Terran, for the Zerg player to acquire. Like, I just don't see how he's going to be able to get both or either. And this isn't even really Clem's final form yet, right? Like, he's going into more and more upgrades, more and more liberators. He's mixing in some technical nukes as well right now, which can be absolutely amazing. Building armor wasn't even built yet. Do we have the high sec auto tracking? No. Wouldn't mind seeing that upgrade coming up as well for Clem. That'll give him some additional range on both the missile turrets as well as the planetaries. It's a small upgrade, but it really does help. Okay, now the infestors are starting to hit the battlefield though. Dark smashed his gas piggy bank here. Just going for those. He doesn't have any air upgrades, so this is not really a game where he can transition towards Brute Lords or anything like that, but I mean, the Ghost will deal with those just fine regardless. I guess if there's no Brute Lords, there's no reason for Clem to make Thors. And if there's no reason for him to make Thors, why bother playing that Ghost mech-based army? Okay, here we go again. Very large attack wave here from the Zerg, but these are becoming trickier and trickier. There's a lot of infestors now burrowed underground though, and that is something to keep in mind. So many sets of units just set up all over the map here. Nice fungal growth, but it's not going to be able to achieve that much. Yeah, I'm not sure how Dark is ever going to be able to crack any of these bases. Like, he's been trying, don't get me wrong. He's been trying for a long time, and he's been doing an excellent job. At the very least, the best that he can do, but... This is a Terran who is crossing all of his T's. He's dotting all of his I's. He is covered from head to toe right now in a shell, you know? He's one of those, like, land tortoises that's got all of his legs and his head retracted right now, and he's just sitting there. Like, you can roll it around, but you're not actually gonna hurt it. Unless it gets stuck on its back and it can't get back on top. Maybe that's what Dark is... Yeah, maybe that's what Dark is trying to aim for right now, but... Clem is a master at playing this type of game here. Beautiful. Like, how are you gonna break this? What are you gonna send here? Instead, what we're trying to do is we're trying to engage where Terran is not, but beautiful movement here by Clem, constantly scanning and predicting where the Zerg army is going to be moving to. Beautiful games right here by Clem, who ends up winning over Dark 2-0. And despite a couple moments where it did look a little bit dicey, Clem honestly looked dominant in this series. He just simply looked like the better player.